You're listening to episode 153 of the Leadway Wealth Builders podcast. My name is Chris Rickenbaugh, and I am documenting my journey in real estate and business, and also talking a little bit about travel hacking and personal finance. I have two very special guests on the podcast today, and that is Lexie and Jeff Bodenmuller, who are sharing their story of how they got started in real estate, how they took the jump and built up into self-storage units, Airbnbs, and long-term rentals. And they just flat out have an amazing story. They're super ambitious. They help coach other people in the Better Life Tribe. And now they're writing a book, doing prayer challenges on Instagram, and starting the Campfire Community. You're going to love this episode, and make sure you tune in. So before we hop into that, you can follow me on social media at chris.rickenbaugh. That's chris.REICHENBACH. And you'll find me there on TikTok and Instagram, where you'll see that I'm posting every day about what I'm doing, what I'm learning, and what's going on in my business. And if you're listening to this podcast, stay right where you are. But if you want some extra places to listen to, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Podbean. Without further ado, let's hop into the interview. All right, Lexie and Jeff Bodenmuller, welcome to the Leadway Wealth Builders podcast. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy real estate investing schedule to talk to the audience here. So, Lexie and Jeff, how are you guys doing?
We are doing great.
Man, we are doing really good. Yeah, good, good, good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. You guys said you're surviving a thunderstorm right now, so hopefully we're all good through
Yes.
through the time here. But Lexie and Jeff, I want to, I listened to you guys on the Better Life podcast. Such a great story, and we met each other at the Better Life conference. And me and Lexie were talking. She's like, "You got to meet my husband." And then me and Jeff start talking about NASCAR, and we just really blended. I'm like, "Oh yeah, like let's definitely get you guys on the podcast." We know there's an Airbnb bus. We know some self storage, live and flip. So you guys have the whole complete story here. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves here.
Yeah, man. Like that's awesome, and it was super cool to actually to meet you at the summit, and then like talking about NASCAR because I'm like such a big follower in that. And then when Lexi met you and kind of talked about that whole story that
Yeah.
what you were involved in, I was like, no way, dude, you got to do all that stuff. So that was like super cool.
That was
Um,
perfect timing too, because I just happened to be like, I was going to buy a shirt at the Better Life booth, and then Chris walked up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I could talk to you about this."
Yeah. So
So,
it was super, it was cool to meet you. And I just love those kinds of conversations, right? It's just like starts out with like, oh yeah, you know this, and then we get into this, and now here we are doing a podcast. But I don't know, yeah, like about us, like right now in our current situation, we have a beach bus, which is a school bus that we converted into a schoolie, and it's that does super good. And then we also have a couple other short-term rentals out here in Florida. We're out in Sarasota County, so a little town called Inglewood. So
Oh yeah.
those are running. That's been kind of a new thing for us in the last
Mhm.
couple of years. And then
Yeah.
we have some long-term rentals, and yeah, last year we just got into self-storage.
Yeah, so it was, it started out with the typical long-term like save my money for a down payment when I was 18, and then there was no Brandon Turner at that time. That was that was pre-Burr, so it was like save up your money and then buy another one. So it was a slow process at the beginning, and now we kind of get excited that there's so many different avenues and can't handle sticking to one.
No, yeah, that's one of our big things too, is like our focus. Like, right? And I think a lot of us as investors get caught up into that. Like we're either in single family or whatever it is, and then we see something about co-living and we're like, wait, what's this all about? Right? And then next thing you know, we're kind of tracking down that road too. So it's hard to stay focused on one thing, especially for me, but also for my wife. But yeah, man. And then the other thing that we do too is we work with Better Life. We're Better Life coaches. So we coach people, other real estate investors, and really what that is like accountability coaching. So we do that as well, which is super cool. It's for me, and I think for you too. We've really connected with a lot of these people that were our clients and now become really good friends.
Mhm.
And honestly, I can say a lot of them have been my coaches as I coach them through accountability, just learning about how they're running their businesses. So just so many amazing things that we get to be involved in on a
Mhm.
daily. It's God's really just blessed us.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I'll make sure to tag the Better Life podcast you guys were on, because you guys go so deep into your backstory and into the real estate and building it up. And that's what I really love listening to, because it was so interesting at the conference, meeting so many different people, and it's all, these little awkward interactions till you start talking, and then you realize, oh my gosh, these people are killing it. It's like, what are they doing? And I like that you guys are kind of all a little over the place. You're talking about the co-living, you're talking about Airbnb, some single family. Because I did want to ask that question of, a little bit later on of, the direction you're going. But I think it's better to start of how you got into real estate. So let's start there. Who I hear a lot about from couples, it's one person really wanting to you dive into it and they're trying to get the other person on board. So how did that start for you guys?
Yeah, so that started before I ever met Jeff. What happened was is my dad, we lived in Central California, out rural. We had a ranch, and my dad went up to Oregon looking for another ranch. And while he's sitting there looking at, you used to have to pick up the catalog to
Yeah.
magazine to look at the houses, and he's like looking at houses, looking at rents, and he's like, I gotta buy some of these houses. They, make money off of them. So he sells a parcel off of our ranch that we had in California, and he pushed through all these 11 house purchases in one weekend. And
Wow.
then he came home and told my mom this. So, surprise, honey, I went and bought 11 houses, and she was not happy. So, I was sitting there in the kitchen listening to their discussion, we'll call it. And I said, "Well, can I buy one of them?" And he just kind of looked at me like, "How much money do you have?" He had given me Rich Dad Poor Dad to read
Oh, such
maybe
a good one.
6 to 12 months prior. Yeah, so that was the really the catalyst of
And
like read the book.
you were how old though when
I
this?
was 17 when he gave me the book, and then he co-signed for one of those houses for me at 18. And that's how we got started. And then I was still into, the long-term rental um class, and Jeff was a highway patrol officer in California, and he was kind of doing his thing. So people get discouraged that their spouses are not on board right away, but it was 16 years before really like Jeff was on board. He wasn't anti me doing it, which is, a totally different thing, but he was like, "Go ahead. That's good." Um, but once he was on board, that's where, like we've really
She
he brings the
she
energy.
probably regrets it now.
Ne-
Cause yeah,
yeah,
sorry. That's like that's kind of like yeah, all the times I was, working just bringing home I guess we'll say bringing home the bacon or whatever, right? And then she would take the money and put it into real estate or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And then on the weekends or whatever days I had off, we would fix up whatever houses we were working on and stuff like that. And that was just kind of how it was. I realized the potential of it because prior to all that, like when I met her dad, and I really started doing a lot of that with him because he was buying an organ, like she said, and I would go with him for weeks, if not a month or more, and we would go up there and like he had a crew up there, and he would buy these houses, and we'd fix them up, and obviously the wheels are turning for me, right? As I'm working for him, I'm like, this is a pretty interesting thing. So I was intrigued by it, but I couldn't wrap my head around all of it at the time,
Mhm.
right? So um, it just to me, I really wanted to be a highway patrol officer and all that, and that was kind of my thing, and that's what I focused on. And then back at what 2020, I went through a retirement, kind of a forced retirement with the highway patrol. And then during that time, we went about a year and a half without a paycheck, which really, it was really, really tough, right? We struggled quite a bit to try to keep the ends, everything together. And our we had our daughters, both of our daughters at the time were in school. Lexie was suffering through a lot of medical issues. I had medical issues with post-traumatic stress from work, and it was a really, really tough time. And together as a couple, we worked through that, I'd say quite well. But I learned in that too, when we weren't able to collect the paycheck, that the only money we had coming in that just barely kept us afloat was the rental properties.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is, like it's more guaranteed than your W-2 job, right? Like anything can happen in your
Yeah.
W-2 job, but those things, as long as they're not burned down, they'll keep making you money. Even if they do burn down, I guess technically you still get. So that's when I really started to tie into it and really believe in it. Started listening to Brandon Turner, and then read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, and oh, that's a great start because I relate to a lot of that because Lexi reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, so I did that. And and I had more it's like I feel like I have both sides of the story because during college I really wanted to work in racing and NASCAR,
Mhm.
and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I started diving into the personal finance and kind of landed on like that real estate side to where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna work in racing, like this is gonna be my thing, and then build rental properties on the side to be able to have that security in case of something happen. And that's where I relate to Jeff because it's like, you wanted to be a highway patrolman, and that was my racing was my thing. So I dove into that for a year and ended up not working out. And I basically lost this huge goal of, where I wanted to go, where I wanted to be. And I had bought my house by then. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to buy one a year. This is going to turn into an Airbnb or a medium term rental. And, I started looking at that a little bit more as I did this shorter stint at a startup company. And I started realizing it's like, well, real estate's probably the way. And I feel like that's a lot of the same type of idea because do you think it was, you know, for Lexi, what was the mindset you're going through after you read that book at 17, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Did you just have kind of it ingrained? It's like, okay, well, we'll just build long-term rentals. Did that come a lot from your dad?
Yeah, that for me was like, oh, this is how I can not dead end my paycheck, but this is how you can, kind of put it through different buckets and make it go further. Like, this is how money's supposed to work.
Hmm.
I get it. But I did have kind of that head start of the family background of don't go to college, it's a waste of money. Like, just get out and go. That was what we were taught is like,
Hmm.
you know, that's a waste of time. Like just go make money and then make it work for you. Um, but he hadn't really figured out past creating a business that was just like self-employed. So then once he started doing the rentals, well, not even a year, before I bought my first rental, it was like, oh, okay, like this is a huge opportunity. Because I know not everyone has that. Back then, we didn't have the same ability to like long-term invest or long distance invest,
Hmm.
which now we do. And now we have all these ways that people have laid out how to do it. Um, but at that point, it was just okay, like you were saying, oh, a house a year. And that was originally like, hey, I told Jeff I only want 10 good houses, okay? That is it. That
Yeah.
was our plan. And obviously that didn't stay our
No,
plan.
yeah. Well, yeah, and that's like I said, once I came into it and I really saw the potential in it, I was like, dang, this is crazy. But like the thing that was tough for me was again the traditional ways of doing things of like you got to go
Hmm.
to a bank and get a loan. You got to, and then we got to a point, and that's when we joined Better Life Tribe was we got to a point where we were running into what a lot of investors call cash poor, right? Where you can't
Mhm.
go get more loans. The bank's like you have too much debt, like you or you know what I mean. We can't loan to you, and it's a hard thing to tell them. Like, no, those are assets. That's not debts, So that's when I put out like on Better Life. I said like, hey, does anybody know how to raise capital or how do you figure out these things? And that's what we worked on all last year was learning how to raise capital. We had that we hosted that call, the Raising Private Capital call, and all that, and just met amazing people on there. But really built up the the know-how to do it. Hired a mentor to help us, and then we just got into the whole idea of raising capital, and that's how we're able to secure like self-storage and all these other things. So it's that you think it's limited, right? Because you're like, okay, I don't have any more money, and it always takes me, it takes money, it takes this. Well, that's the amazing part is when you realize that there's money all over the place for you to get a hold of, not the traditional way as through a bank, through other people, that it also boosts their portfolio and helps them out a ton. It's like now the possibilities are endless. And then it really just a number doesn't mean anything. $1 million, $10 million, 100 million doesn't mean anything anymore because it's just money that you're pulling from other people. So that's when I started to get really excited.
Yeah, that's a huge part, and that's in so I'm in Cam's deal flow, and that's you're meeting people who have never been in it before, and they're like wholesaling. It's like I don't know if your personality quite matches up with wholesaling, but it's like anybody can do it. So once you get over that mindset, that's where the growth really starts to happen. So where were you guys at? When I Lexi had the health problems, and you guys kind of with the forced retirement, where was the portfolio at and what was that switch where you really started taking it a lot more seriously?
Yeah, so at that point when, they sent Jeff home from work, we only had three long-term rentals. But they were cash flowing $1,500 a month. Um, but what happened was we were at the time in a really cool live-in flip, and we thought that was our forever home, and then fast forward, you have Jeff at home, the state's putting him on disability, and then you have COVID, where we had a mass migration from the San Francisco Bay Area out to where we were because of all of the restrictions. So our value just went through the roof on
Wow.
our house. So we looked at, okay, we're not locked in here anymore. We can go wherever we want, and our home, like we've put in all this work and it's appreciated a ton. So then we said, okay, where are we gonna go? Um, for the best benefit of real estate, because definitely California is not the place for landlords.
That's what I've
So,
been hearing. Yep.
yeah. So that was when we sold that home, and we made almost 300,000 on that one.
Wow.
And then we moved to Florida, and that was when kind of diversifying on accident happened with the with the vacation rentals.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the next step.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was like, because we've done like what, like 3 or 4 live-in flips, right? So our kids grew up doing that stuff, like from literally young, young, young to now our youngest daughter's going to be 18 here in a little bit. And they grew up doing that stuff. So like, we felt like kind of weird as parents, through that whole thing. We're like, man, this is not like,
Ideal.
um, yeah, it's not stable, right? You want to keep your kids in the same place and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Well, we've learned honestly through that, and this is debatable, I get it, but like I honestly feel like the the life that they got to have was good, right? They got to go travel and do all these crazy things and see these improvements and things in their lives. So we felt bad at the time, but honestly now we look back and we're like we feel really 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 good about taking our kids through that and teaching them the value of work and to do because they helped us with all that too. It's not like they got to sit and play video games while we did all the work. They were right there with us, roofing a house or whatever it took. But even that carries out here, and that's why our little logo has the paintbrush and hammer, is because we came from that background, right? Where we do it ourselves. We would do everything ourselves. And now we're as our portfolio grows and our businesses grow, we are learning a very important skill, and that is you cannot do it all yourself. You can't, and you cannot multiply. Even though AI is amazing, we cannot multiply Jeff and Lexi still. So we're stuck at we got to hire people. We have to
Mhm.
trust people, and that's the next step for us is where we really you start to understand it's not how deep but how wide, right? You're casting that vision out and really looking and portraying like how wide can I be? Like how wide can I cast this vision out and how can we do these things? And once you realize that, like you were saying earlier, is like the mindset. When you can switch the mindset and you realize like you just have to make money work for you and you got to go
Mhm.
find the people to do these tasks to grow. And then we're big believers in like servant leadership. Like we really want to tell our employees and people that work for us that we cherish them. We cherish them like no other, right? So those kinds of things is where the next step for us is going, is like learning to now build a business that's investing in real estate or a business in self-storage and stuff like that, and then trusting these people and loving these people to build those businesses. So that's it's just so amazing. There's so many cool avenues to go here.
For sure. And so the mindset from doing it yourself to now having to hire the team, one of the mindsets I had from the beginning is it's like my dad's a plumber his whole life, he can be hands-on, he did the things, and I'm like, I am not doing that. So um for me starting off the bat, I'm like, okay, well, I do this little live and flip, but it's like it's cool because I got to hire out the contractors. I did the room by room scope of work, and then I was able to find that contractor, hire them, fund it myself, and then so when I did my first true flip, it was really easy. I just did the same thing. I handed it to the contractor. Here's the materials, and because eventually my goal is to be able to be hands off and let people do that. So it's fun to talk to people who, are going through that transition to being the hands on and then having to, it's like, all right, how can we be hands off? Is that a really big struggle for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, and the fact that you didn't want to be doing that's a leg up on what we had because
Well, do you like doing
we
it is the thing.
yeah, and so but we came to a point of okay, we like doing this and we know we're going to show up. We know, you know, the level of work that we're going to do and
The quality of
the
work we're gonna
Oh
do.
yeah.
quality of
Yeah.
work we're
Yeah.
going to do.
Yeah.
But we got to a point where, okay, if we just keep doing this, we're limiting ourselves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was where it got to, okay, if we really want to make this bigger, then we have to start trusting other people, and, delegating things. So I think both of us too are a little controlling, and so that was difficult. But then once you start to do it, then you realize like, oh, okay, I'm freeing up more of my time to do the more important tasks that only I can do.
Mhm.
So I think that's been the key is seeing that it works.
Yeah, and I can elaborate a little more on that if you don't mind. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
actually, one of my coaching clients, he told me this, and I was like, man, that is so smart, right? Because he has quite a few successful businesses, and he was like, Jeff, listen, all you need to think about is building a roadmap for them to follow. He's like, so if I'm going to go to Chris's house, I'm like, Chris, I need to know your address or I need to know directions on how to get to your house. And if you draw me out good directions, I should end up at your doorstep,
Right.
right? That's really what it takes when you hire other people or you bring other people on is you need to create an SOP and guidelines for them that they can follow because every day, even us as entrepreneurs or real estate investors or whatever you want to call us, like we follow a roadmap every day, right? You got up this morning, you said, I got to do a podcast with Jeff and Lexi. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like that's your roadmap for the day. So you're just creating, literally a roadmap for these people. And as long as it's good and they know they can get to your house or they know that they can get to that destination, then it's a success. Now the issue is people will come back and they'll say like, "Hey, there's this thing happened or whatever, or there's a bridge that is out on the way there." Okay, well now you got to go back into your SOP and create a way around that, right? Because those things are going to come up. And as long as you keep doing that, it's really as simple as that. Like you hire someone and you're like, here's your map, here's what you're getting paid. We appreciate what you do. You're one of the most important people in this business that keeps us going every day. We love you for that and support those people. If I feel like from there, it's like it's not that hard. And we take it, it's again, Chris, like you were saying, it was it hard to give that up? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm the delegator, right? I'm the guy that I can tell people like, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this, like for our assistant and stuff like that. I'm pretty good at giving her tasks, but I'm also pretty bad at it because I'll overwhelm her with a bunch of stuff. And then she's like, I can't even do the stuff you asked me to do. But Lexi, on the other hand, you're not. You weren't a delegator, and she built the SOP for our assistant, and it's just amazing. I think it empowered her to see like, wow, like it's as simple as that. I gave this lady a roadmap, and she follows it, and the rest is history. Like now, go find more people to do more work. It's just an amazing thing. So
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy, Jeff. I mean, because it's kind of like what these real estate coaches are doing. All they're doing is, pulling from all of their knowledge, they're writing it down, and then they're giving it to somebody else. So that's what Cam does in Deal Flow, where they're,
Hmm.
Janelle, Justin's on there too, and they basically just, hey, here's everything we're doing. Here's the steps to do it. If you just follow it and be
Mhm.
consistent, you're going to be able to get there. So it's interesting hearing that from the hiring process and trying to get out of it because you're so used to being hands-on, and I love that.
Yeah.
So jumping back into the real estate part, so we've made the move to Florida, and now we're starting to branch out into um, different areas of real estate. So compared to where you guys are at right now, joining Better Life, you have the Airbnbs and you have the self-storage. How did we get to that specific point to where you guys are right now from the move to Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were planning on more long-term rentals, right? That was what we knew and that was what we planned on doing here. But then we saw AirDNA numbers and we were like, "Oh my goodness, these same houses can make a lot more money." Especially it was in that period of like everybody'd been locked at home, so they all wanted to travel. So that was kind of what opened the door for the Airbnb side. And then we thought, well, we can use this while we're here, as our vacation too, because we hadn't planned on moving to Florida. We
Right.
were just, we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah. At the time, I was still working for the state of California, so it's not like I can live in Florida and I'm working over there as a cop. That doesn't work out too well. So we were
Yeah,
like,
that
yeah, we're gonna have to stay,
Hmm.
here, but we can have these, and then it turned out we moved here, right? So then
Yeah.
after we moved here,
Yeah.
oh, good.
So, so from the getting the three Airbnbs going. Then you always hear, you need to scale, and we're like, oh, we have to go into multifamily because that's how people say that you scale, you
hmm
know?
Oh yeah.
So that was the next step is, okay, let's get a mentor who can, teach us how to get into these large apartment buildings, and then start, getting investors and syndicating and all of that. Well, obviously the market has been pretty rough for multifamily. So the self-storage came by accident from searching for multifamily.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, which is so we hired a mentor and everything for multifamily, and she underwrote like a gazillion properties.
yeah.
Like we had everything like they say, right? We were just talking about like building the habits and like
Hmm.
just staying consistent, and we were just man, we were drumming it out because we had crazy, what is it, BHAG, big, hairy,
Oh
audacious
yeah.
goals last year. And they were pretty substantial this year too, but we were like, couldn't even sleep at night. Like, oh man, what are we doing? But we just kept clicking it off because we believed like obviously Brandon's goal setting and all that, it works, right? As long as you stay consistent. And she was doing more than enough. We were working so hard and we just could not lock a deal in. And then it turned out like obviously we all know now like multifamily was not like it was hard to just to buy. Like you
Oh
just
yeah.
anything over 60
Mhm.
units seemed like it was just a real tough time to get a deal to pencil out. People
Mhm.
didn't want to the prices were a little higher when the economy was dropping and stuff like that. So then the self-storage fell into our lap. Literally our mentor just happened to find it. She was like, "Hey, this broker sent me a property and it's self-storage. You guys interested in
It
doing
was
that?"
actually a wholesaler
Wholesaler, sorry.
that she wasn't even, she wasn't looking for self-storage either. No one was looking for self-storage.
No.
And
Yeah.
then,
Not at that
and
time. Now it's hard
right,
to
Right.
yeah,
find.
right.
Yes. Multifamily,
Now,
multifamily.
good luck
Yeah.
finding any,
Oh,
but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so then it was kind of like, oh, hey, there's this guy that might want to sell us self-storage.
Yeah.
So then all we had was like, hey, this guy might want to sell from the wholesaler. And then Jeff
Well,
like
we
did
researched it
yeah, researched it and found the address
and we found the number.
and then
Yeah.
Jeff found the owner's phone number.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, I think it was me. And then anyway, so then what do, right? We always like cold call, and we all know as investors, cold calls never go good. Not never,
they
but
suck.
most of the time they are not fun
Yeah.
because everybody doesn't want to talk to you, so whatever. So I call. It was late in the evening. I remember that, and it like rang like once. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's gonna go to voicemail. So I'm getting ready for voicemail, and then it picks up, and he's like, hello, and I'm like, is this Jim? He goes, yeah, speaking. And I'm like, oh boy, right? So
Oh
you get in
no.
now, you're like, everything's got to switch. Now here we go. So like, how do you approach this? You got to think of like, do I just say like, hey, I stalked you on the internet, found your phone number, saw that you have some self-storage properties? That's kind of what I said, right? I was like, look, man, I said, we saw this property you own, it's self-storage. We were interested in buying it. My wife and I are trying to close on some deals by the end of the year, and all that. And he was like, man, that's funny you called. He's like, I was literally just talking to my business partner, and we have to depart with like three or four of these self-storage facilities. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And then I'm like, because a big thing for us that time or that last year was owner finance, right? Which I
hmm
mean, most times that is. And so that was my next question. I'm like, well, would you be interested in owner financing it? And he's like, yeah, actually, we would. And I'm like, do you know? Yeah, right, Chris. It's like,
That's
Jeff said one
that's
one
the
for one.
yeah, you don't have to fight through an agent who's
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, we need 40% down." You know,
dude,
Yep.
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
right.
that's insane.
Yeah, it just started flowing, and I'm like, man, this is cool, because like I said, I've talked to
Yeah.
other people cold calling, and it didn't go like that. And not all, some did good, but most of them were like, not as fun.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're just hitting it off, man. We're just kind of talking it up, casual, like, whatever. And then he's like, yeah, like throws out like, hey, I'd be, if we did owner finance, I'd look at like doing like a 4% interest rate. So now I'm like, holy moly, like, is this guy for? So now I'm like questioning, is this really for real? Like, is this a fake? Like send me 100 grand and I'll give you the info kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it just worked out, and we ended up buying three out of the four. And yeah, then I went up and did that was right at the end of last year, literally
Mhm.
at the end, and we hit every other goal. That was the last one. That was obviously the biggest one, and we were like, "Holy cow!" It's not multifamily, but it was over 60 units at three different properties. And so yeah, I went up last year. Man, we're scrambling now because I wanted to buy self storage for a while, but I just again, Chris, like we were talking about earlier, it's that ADD, like I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm looking over
Yeah.
here, and
I should be
Stay
focused on
trying to
this
stay
one
focused.
thing, and if I'm doing this, then
Yeah.
I'm off course.
Right.
Right, right. And that's so we went off course, but it was obviously for a good reason. And it just really worked out. I went up and inspected all the properties, looked over everything. We did some negotiations at the very end, which he's been just an
Mhm.
absolute amazing person to work with too. And I feel like we've been really fair with him too. And then January or no, December 31st, we all the paperwork got submitted, and January 1st everything was closed. So
That's
That
awesome.
was really, really cool. It was a cool moment to go like, wow, we hit every goal, right? But then here's the scary part of that. We walk into, oh my gosh, we didn't just buy real estate, we bought a business.
Yeah.
It sounds
Game
crazy, I
changer.
know, but Jeff a lot of times doesn't think all the way through things. So Jeff's like, cool, hey, look, we bought all this self-storage. Hopefully it just does what it's supposed to do. And then I'm like, wait, we got to like hire managers, we got to hire, secretary, all
Yeah.
this stuff.
It forced us to delegate.
Yes. And
Yeah, that's
that's
not a bad thing sometimes, though.
Right. Yeah.
that was exactly what we needed. So it's like God kind of like, here, guys, you want to talk about growing? Well, here's how you're going to grow. Because guess what, Jeff and Lexi, you can't be in North Carolina and two different parts of Georgia in the same day. So you're going to have to find people to do this. And that's been, uh, like I
The
said,
latest learning.
the latest learning. Yeah. And then building, like we talked about, roadmaps for everybody to follow. So just really, really cool.
Oh yeah, that's so cool, and it's like I love the analogy or what you said there is, if you're asking for this, God is going to give you different things that look like that. It's like he's not going to
Hmm.
give you patient, he's going to give you opportunities to be patient. And
Right.
you're asking to grow, well, here's your opportunity to grow. And that's so awesome. So,
Yeah.
yeah, hard man, it is so hard to find those owner financing opportunities because I
I
I
know.
mean I'm making those cold calls too. You don't have a lot of money, so you're trying to figure it out. So super super cool story. So uh so we have the self-storage unit, and now you mentioned you have a couple Airbnbs. You said in the Sarasota area, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
oh yeah. I know that area. Do you know the little Amish village that
Oh,
has Oh yeah, I've been there.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, dude, very
We
cool.
we didn't know about that when we moved here, and then well, I forget what we were up doing. We're like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, you
Oh,
just don't expect that in
we're in
Florida.
the middle of like a city.
Yeah.
oh yeah, all that the fresh pies are
Oh,
oh my gosh.
yeah,
That'll
that
add a
place
couple
is
pounds.
dangerous. Yeah,
But
Yeah.
see you're in Florida, so it's hot enough to where you're gonna sweat it right
yeah,
back out. So it
yeah,
evens out.
Yeah, especially in the summer. Yep, that's
Oh,
for sure.
oh,
Yeah,
no,
yes.
for
not for
sure,
me.
man.
Not for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So the Airbnbs, so how you mentioned the area they're in now. I know one of them is the school bus, and then
Mm-hmm.
you said you have a couple other ones. You know, are you guys self-managing those?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So how has that been, or I guess how many do you have to
Okay,
begin
so
with?
a total of
Four.
four.
Okay.
Um, and we run them through Hospitable, which is like a managing
Mm.
app, right? And they manage both the calendars for VRBO and Airbnb, and then also direct bookings. So we utilize that, and that
Mhm.
software is really, really, really good.
It's helped a lot
It's helped a lot.
because people should know. Like, we don't hardly ever hear from our long-term tenants,
Hmm.
but we'll get like five of the same questions a week from
Oh yeah.
Airbnb
Yeah,
guests,
yeah,
even though it's printed on the door
yeah,
and in the app. Like, so it's a lot more time consuming and a lot more hands-on for, I mean, that's typically how it goes, right? More cash flow equals more time.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's a healthy trade-off for sure. Because
Yes.
that's what it's interesting because I have a partner who's looking to do more Airbnbs in this area. I know this one, like I have everything ready to go, the spreadsheets and everything ready for this to be an Airbnb. So it's interesting hearing how other people manage them. Because what
yeah,
I was
Hmm.
pitching to him, I said, we can't just get these 3-bed, 2-bath homes. It's like it's got to be something different. And I'm like,
mm,
so
Yes.
we're 20 minutes from Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm like, if we're gonna do an Airbnb here, we got to get a nice house and we're gonna brand it the NASCAR Airbnb. I
dude,
think that would crush.
I will be
Yes.
there tomorrow.
Jeff's
I
like, I gotta leave now because
Yeah,
I gotta drive.
Oh
no,
yeah,
no, yeah,
could you imagine pulling up through a driveway right into a victory lane? I think that would crush for
Oh,
like a little 8 to 10 year old NASCAR fan. Oh my gosh.
oh,
So
100%.
yeah,
And
that's
yeah.
you're so right too. Like now with the way the Airbnb market is, you have to have something unique.
yep,
Hmm.
And that's why we have the bus, which is unique, and then we have a tiny house, which is unique. those two do the best. And we're actually in the process of transitioning one of just the regular house Airbnbs into just a long-term rental because the extra time is not worth
Right.
For sure.
the effort.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely
Yeah, the str
being unique.
unique and strategic in how you
Mhm.
do it. Like you said, if you're in that, you're close to Charlotte, like dude,
Yeah.
all day NASCAR, anything like that, because people are going to look for that,
Hmm.
and especially if you can market it well, that's super smart. But every one of our Airbnbs that we did, we tried to hit after something. Even the one right now that we're going to long-term rent, that we made into a kid friendly, and we were
Hmm.
going to do
Okay.
kids and pets and stuff like that,
Hmm.
which we ended up not doing the pets, but we did kid friendly. We had a swing set out back, toys in there, that kind of thing. And it did attract some families. And then we had
Hmm.
the tiny home, and then we had the bus, and then we call it the bungalow, which is a two-bedroom, one bath, and that's just more like uh, it's closer to the water, so that one just really just draws people in.
Hmm.
But that's you're right, Chris, 100%. You have to have a unique thing. Like years ago when COVID was around and even a little after, you can Airbnb your garage and
Oh
people were
yeah.
like totally happy. They did not care what was going on. But then as soon as that all came back and we knew that as soon as it was going to come back, we set up every single property we purchased. We made sure that it would also long-term rent cash flow. If it wouldn't, then it wasn't worth doing because we figured like once this kind of goes away, we might have to transition some out, and that's what Lexi just talking
Hmm.
about, the one that we're going to move over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Super, super, super interesting. And that's what we're seeing a lot over here too. It just doesn't work quite the same. And people are
Hmm.
transitioning to Airbnb, so it's like you got to be unique.
yeah,
And
Right.
so that's what I keep telling the partner. So we may be looking for investors if we follow through with that. I think it would
love
crush.
it.
But
Yes.
I want to be respectful of your guys' time so we can start wrapping up a little bit here. And, with all of you guys, with what you guys have, the self-storage, we have the Airbnbs, we have long-term rentals, what does this next little chapter look for you guys? What are you putting your focus on and um, real estate or business, or what are you guys looking to do and focused on now?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things coming. Like Lexi loves educating and teaching, so that's something she's just recently looking into.
Yeah.
Um, oh, sorry, go
That's
ahead.
oh, we have all these like both of us have, these side projects that we're doing too. As far as real estate, we've been looking at co-living, um, especially because we're very close to an area where it works very well. Um, so that would be we're still looking for self-storage, but Jeff hasn't struck gold again yet. So we'll keep looking there.
Yep.
But then on the kind of not real estate, I guess more business side is like I'm working on doing a course for women that's like basically teaching construction lingo so
Oh,
that it's
interesting.
just like an easy digital course where they could go in, okay, this is what I should look for on a walkthrough. These are
Hmm.
big ticket items that I need to pay attention to. Oh, if I go meet a contractor, this is what this means or that means. So just kind of help, them feel like they can do it and be more confident.
That's super amazing, right? Because one, she was talking about the statistics of women in investing in real estate, and it's really, really low. So I feel like that's super cool that she's stepping out and wants to teach that, and I feel like that'll draw in a lot of women to get involved, and then from there, like get their spouses involved, like me and stuff like that. So
That's
that's
the goal.
yeah, that's super awesome. We're doing a lot with like Jeff and Lexi with our social media and stuff like
Hmm.
that. We're putting more and more content out there. Not as much as you're doing, Chris. You're doing a lot of cool slamming content. So
I
I love what you got going. But we're gonna
appreciate it.
start put yeah, absolutely. We're gonna start putting a lot more content out there. We're looking at starting a podcast called the Spouse Podcast. The reason that we're doing that is because we're building a database for writing our book, and our book is about working with your spouse. It's called Spouse, and it's help me out.
Acronym.
It's an acronym. I always forget that word. It's an acronym, so it spells something out, which is super good, and that's a super exciting. Just because our life story we've done quite a few podcasts now, and like we've realized like, wow, our life story is very interesting, but like
Oh
it
yeah.
really qualifies us to be able to like encourage spouses to
Mhm.
like not just have a good relationship together, but also you can like you're sleeping next to your potential business partner. Like there's a lot there that can be done, and if you just harness each other's power, it's pretty amazing what you can get out of it. So
Mhm.
that one's I'm really excited about that.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work, I'll tell you right now. Writing a book, it's a
More
lot
than we thought.
more
That's
than we
That's
thought.
okay though.
Yes.
that's what I've heard, and that's super interesting because me and my wife have that same conversation because she's looking to stop nannying, and she's like, "Well, I can help you out," and it's like I don't quite have enough yet, and she's like, "Well,
Mhm.
social media." I'm like, "But how do you know you take my brain and put it into somebody else?" So I said, so she's starting to do some social media about basically what she's doing and, being an au pair, turning into an American citizen, like kind of us getting married, documenting nannying. So it's really, it's cool to watch her progress in that, get excited about it, doing the videos. So what you guys are teaching, I'm definitely going to be tuning into that because I
Cool.
think that's what a lot of people need because if they not necessarily have to work together, but if they figure out how to do it correctly, it's like how life-changing could that be for somebody? So that's really, really cool to see for you guys.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's like with the spouse podcast is going to be really like going after and interviewing spouses that are like power couples, right? That are already getting after it and doing business together, or just in life in general. Because there's so many amazing success stories out
Mhm.
there. Rich and Kathy Fettke. I mean, there's just amazing, amazing stories that you hear from these people, and we're just very passionate about that side of it. But that also helps us build a good database for writing our book and writing in all these recommendations and
Mhm.
things that these other people have. So,
We want all the good tips, like give us all the hacks for,
Oh yeah.
people that are trying to do it. So that's the goal.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And then we have, so the other thing we're doing with our social media is we're doing couples prayer challenges where we just started. We're in day 11 because we started on July 1st.
Trial run.
Yeah, of a trial run where we put it out on social and we're telling other spouses just pray together every day. You and your spouse sit down and take 5, 10 minutes, whatever it is, and just pray together and talk about your day, whatever it is with God. Pray because there's a very important statistic there that's like less than 0.1% of couples that are married will end in divorce if they just pray together. But only
Wow.
11% of us on average do that. And that's like crazy. So it's just trying to encourage other
Mhm.
couples to pray. So that's something we're going to be putting more and more out on social media to just continue these prayer challenges up and keep
Mhm.
people encouraged to keep your marriage tight and stuff like that. But really, we feel like God's called us to really pour into those things. There's been so many amazing leads have come across and relationships we built through that. Um, Lastly, for me, is the Campfire Mastermind.
Yes, I was gonna bring that
Um,
up.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
so all that is like I don't want to say all that is. It's quite a bit. I've done it. We did a trial run in March for 3 days, and I'm very, very passionate about community, accountability, and like generational wealth building. Those things to me, I feel like I've always had like this for like the last several years. I feel like God's calling me to build community, and I've been trying to do that locally where I live, and like doing all the stuff, and it hasn't really come to fruition the way I thought it would. But in the background, what's been happening is like building these communities through Better Life Tribe and through like this Campfire Mastermind, raising private capital. We got like over 250 members on there and stuff, and I started realizing like I love this side of it. I really, really do. And I last year was our by far biggest growth year we've ever had in business and in our lives, just from being held accountable and showing up every day and having a group of people to do that. So the campfire is built on it's there's going to be a vetting process to be in it, but if you can be in the campfire, the point of it is you will be with like 20 other people. You're going to go to a campground,
This is
undisclosed.
glamping.
This is glamping, by the way.
This is cabins.
So,
I was
Just
making
so
sure.
people.
I'm an Eagle Scout, so I've done the
Oh,
rough camping.
you've done the real camping,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, real
But
the
camping.
wives don't want to go to that.
I
yeah,
agree. I don't want to either.
Yeah, see, Chris.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Check that off the
yeah.
list.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you'll go. You're gonna go to like a campground where we're gonna have cabins, luxury, like nice cabins. You have all your plumbing, all the stuff you have, and then but you're gonna do life together with these like 20 other people that all have the same mindset of community, just generational wealth building, and an entrepreneurial spirit, whether that's in real estate investing or you own your own business and stuff. From there, you're going to meet with these 4 or 6 other people that are going to be in your what I'm going to call fire camps, and those people are going to, after they're done at this event, they're going to go to their own back to their homes and stuff like that, and they're going to meet weekly in a fire camp accountability group where they're going to have a laid out structure on how to track their goals, their habits, and stuff like that. And then all these other people are going to be like their coaches and hold them accountable to what their goals and aspirations are for that quarter and throughout the year. So it's really the unique thing here is like I said, we do one-on-one coaching. One-on-one coaching works really well because there's only 2 people that have to show up on that call, right?
Hmm.
With when you work with a pod of people or more than like 2 people, it's hard to get everybody to show up. So what we're trying to do here, and the reason we're doing like you show up and you meet these people in person, is because we're trying to build a tight community of people that like will not give up on their people. They will show up on these calls. And if you do that, if every like all 5 or 6 of these people show up, the the possibilities are endless. I mean, you will do so well in your business because you have these people there that are like, Chris, I've got your back. I'll be there for you. With that said, the last thing we do is once you go to that campfire, you get put into these groups, and then you go on and do life with these people every week through these accountability groups. And then once a year, we're doing an awesome cruise, which has
Oh,
nothing to do with camping. I know this is even better. The women are going to love this. We're going to go on an
Was
awesome.
this my idea?
It was my wife's idea.
yacht camping.
Oh,
Love it.
thank you so
I
much.
was like, no cooking, no cleaning.
It's it's a great idea. Like she came up with it. I researched it, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. But you're going to go on this cruise with all the other campfire people that for everybody. You're going to meet the entire family of all the other campfire members and stuff like that. But then they get to bring their kids, their grandkids, their families, and we're all going to be on this cruise for like 3 days and just have an amazing time. And that's where my other passion comes into is really teaching the kids and the grandkids and the parents about generational wealth building and I'm moving that on for years to come, right? So like you don't go out as an investor or a business owner and have all these assets and things and you just like I'm doing it because I want to give it to my kids someday and then your kids blow it all because they don't understand the meaning of what you worked for. So really teaching our kids and our grandkids the meaning of what you've done so then they can carry that on and pass it on generations after. So it's just an exciting thing. We're so excited about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. I'm looking for a lot of people that want to work in marketing and just business development and getting this thing off and running because it is going to be quite a bit of work, but really, really blessed and excited to do that. So that's it.
That's yeah, that's awesome, guys. That's super exciting because it all kind of ties back in together. So it's going to be super cool to see where that goes. One question before we get you guys out of here. If somebody's interested in joining, keeping up with you guys, or wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, it's Jeff and Lexie on Instagram, um, Stash Investor on Instagram.
Love
What's
that
yours?
handle, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why I came up with that.
What?
I didn't come up with that, actually. My daughters did.
Oh yeah, that's true. They
Yeah.
did, huh? Yeah, I think probably the best ones, the Jeff and Lexi. That's the
Okay.
easiest for everyone to remember because this last name is like,
Oh yeah, it's
um,
Yeah.
German.
you
I
know.
got see, I'm Rickenbaugh, so it's
Yeah,
like
you got it.
after 5 times spelling it out for the lady at Lowe's, it's like you got to change the whole company name. It's like I'm over it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny is we kept the company name as you can see back there, and
Oh
that's the other
yeah.
place you can find us is Bodenmuller Properties. It's right there. It's Boden Mueller with a U properties.com. It's not that hard.
You see, that's what I think too. But after the Lowe's incident and an eviction, it's like might as well be safer to change it. So awesome, guys. Jeff and Lexi, you guys are awesome. So anybody who's wanting to connect with them, I'll make sure to put those links in the show description, so make sure you guys check them out, follow them, and keep up with what they're doing. This was Jeff and Lexie Bodenmuller with Chris Rickenbaugh on the Leadway Wealth Builders podcast.